Greets users across the country with that message right there. It explains the official ban of the app that went into effect. It goes into effect really in less than an hour. But right now, users in the U.S. cannot access the app at all. President-elect Donald Trump told ABC News in a phone interview earlier today he's likely to grant TikTok a 90-day extension to avoid a ban in the United States.
What am I supposed to do?
More than 170 million TikTok users could soon be without the popular app.
I'm very upset, sad, angry, many emotions.
The app is scheduled to be banned due to a bipartisan congressional law that ordered the platform to sever ties with its Chinese-based parent company, ByteDance. TikTok had challenged the sale or ban law on grounds it limited free speech, but the Supreme Court unanimously upheld the law, saying it did not violate First Amendment rights. The court citing well-supported national security concerns regarding TikTok's data collection practices and relationship with a foreign adversary. TikTok now saying it will go dark in the U.S. at midnight Sunday unless the outgoing Biden administration assures the company it won't enforce the new law. Just hours after the ruling, President Biden saying any decision on implementing the ban will be up to President-elect Trump. In a statement, the Biden administration calling TikTok's threat to go dark a stunt, saying, "We see no reason for TikTok or other companies to take actions in the next few days before the Trump administration takes office." President-elect Trump telling ABC News he will most likely give TikTok a 90-day extension, adding, "I'll do that until we figure something out." TikTok's CEO is among a number of notable tech leaders planning to attend Monday's inauguration. He posted this message supporting the incoming president.
I want to thank President Trump for his commitment to work with us to find a solution that keeps TikTok available in the United States.
But all this is leaving many TikTok users frustrated.
There are small businesses everywhere that utilize this to boost their income and their business and make their businesses more successful.
All right, let's dive in. Today, we're tackling the whole TikTok saga, and wow, you really went all out, huh? News articles, social media posts. I even see what looks like maybe a leaked memo in here.
Yeah.
You clearly want the whole story, right? The rise, the fall, the whispers of a comeback. Is it gone for good? Did the U.S. government really just ban an app? What's even going on here?
You know, it is wild how fast it all went down.
Yeah,
really.
right.
People are like perfecting the renegade 1 minute and poof, TikTok's a ghost town the next.
It's crazy. Like, you go to check the latest trends and bam, error message. But let's rewind a bit before we get to the ban, the blackout, all that. We got to understand how TikTok even became this phenomenon, this whole thing, you know. And you've given us some great sources on that whole rise to the top.
Oh, it's a fascinating story for sure.
Yeah.
TikTok, made by ByteDance, this Chinese company, managed to do what no other Chinese platform had really done before, crack the Western market.
Right.
And a big part of that, I think it's the algorithm.
Yeah, algorithm.
Think of it like a digital matchmaker.
Okay.
Always learning your taste, serving up content just for you, like even stuff you didn't know you'd love.
It's like it can read your mind, even the parts you haven't even figured out yourself, you know?
Exactly.
And remember how it basically turned the music industry on its head?
Oh, yeah.
Lil Nas X, Old Town Road.
Yeah, that was just the beginning.
Yeah.
That was just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Perfect example of TikTok's power. Really bypassed all the traditional gatekeepers, you know, the record labels, the radio stations.
Right.
Gave artists a direct line to their audience.
Straight to the source.
Suddenly, anyone with a catchy tune, a smartphone, boom, global sensation.
Yeah.
No wonder the established players started to sweat a little bit.
Right. And then the pandemic hit.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's stuck at home.
Everyone's inside.
TikTok becomes the ultimate escape.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, those viral dances, it was more than just entertainment, right?
Right.
It was a way to connect, to share a laugh.
That's the community.
Yeah, when everyone was so isolated.
Totally. Yeah.
And the app just, it blew up.
It was like watching a rocket launch.
Yeah.
It was truly unprecedented. Even these giants like Instagram, YouTube, they had to play catch up, scrambling to create their own versions of TikTok's short form video magic, you know, reels, shorts.
Yeah.
They were all trying to capture that same lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the surface, TikTok was this unstoppable force, right? Cultural juggernaut.
Totally.
But as you pointed out in your notes, there was a dark side kind of brewing underneath. a growing unease, especially here in the U.S.
Exactly. U.S. officials started raising some serious concerns about data security. You got to remember, TikTok's owned by a Chinese company.
Right.
And China has these laws that require companies to cooperate with government data requests. Red flags all over the place about where user data was going, who might have access to it.
Okay.
Imagine a treasure trove of information.
Yeah.
About millions of Americans, their habits, their preferences, their personal lives,
all of it,
potentially ending up in the hands of a foreign government.
Right.
It's a scenario that kept people up at night, for sure.
And it wasn't just about the data itself, right?
Right.
There were also worries about how TikTok's algorithm could be used.
Right.
This incredibly powerful tool that shapes what people see, how they think, and it was all shrouded in secrecy.
It was like a black box.
Yeah.
Controlling what millions of people saw online, and that's what made people nervous.
Yeah.
Even TikTok's own engineers, they admitted they didn't fully understand how it worked.
Really?
Yeah, that lack of transparency combined with the data security concerns created this perfect storm of suspicion.
A recipe for disaster.
And remember, this wasn't just a U.S. issue.
Right.
I mean, India had already banned TikTok in 2020 after a border clash with China.
Oh, wow.
The writing was on the wall.
Yeah. Okay, so we have this incredibly popular app, massive global reach, but now it's facing these very serious questions about data security, potential foreign influence, and the power of its mysterious algorithms.
Totally.
And then things get even more complicated when the Trump administration enters the picture, known for, let's just say, a less than subtle approach to things.
Right.
Yeah.
The Trump era, it marked a significant escalation in the TikTok saga, for sure. It was like throwing gasoline on an already smoldering fire.
Right.
In 2020, President Trump, he issues these dramatic executive orders aimed at banning TikTok and WeChat, citing national security as the main concern.
It felt like TikTok was like dominating the headlines back then.
Oh,
every day there was a new twist, a new development.
Every day, yeah.
But even when the Biden administration took over, the scrutiny didn't really let up, did it?
No, not at all. Yeah. The Biden administration, maybe they were less theatrical about it,
right?
But they took the concerns just as seriously.
Yeah.
They dropped those initial executive orders, but they continued a deep dive into TikTok's operations,
right,
through the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States.
Okay.
Better known as CFIUS.
CFIUS. Okay, so for those who aren't familiar with CFIUS, can you explain what they do and why they were brought into the TikTok situation?
Sure. Think of CFIUS as like a national security filter for foreign investments.
Okay.
They have the power to review any foreign investment in a U.S. company and block it if they believe it poses a national security risk.
Gotcha.
They've been around for decades, but they've become increasingly active in recent years, especially when it comes to Chinese investments in tech companies.
Right.
So in the case of TikTok, CFIUS was tasked with determining whether ByteDance's ownership of the app posed a threat to U.S. national security.
So the stakes just got a lot higher.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just a political battle anymore. It's a full-blown national security review.
Exactly.
And what we see next is this period of intense negotiations between TikTok and the U.S. government, which, according to the documents you provided, ultimately went nowhere. Can you walk us through what happened during this back and forth?
Absolutely. TikTok and the U.S. government, they were essentially locked in this high stakes game of chess.
Okay.
Each trying to outmaneuver the other.
Right.
TikTok, desperate to stay in the U.S. market.
Yeah.
They offered a series of concessions, culminating in this massive 90-page security agreement.
Wow. Okay.
That they presented to CFIUS.
90 pages. That's a lot of legalese.
Yeah.
It sounds like they were really trying to make a deal. So what were the sticking points? Why did this agreement, despite all the effort, fail to satisfy the U.S. government?
That's where it gets really interesting. Yeah, it was a classic trust issue.
Right.
Even with this huge 90-page agreement,
yeah,
the U.S. government, they just weren't convinced that TikTok could truly separate its U.S. operations from its Chinese parent company.
Right.
You know, there were lingering doubts about whether TikTok's U.S. user data could be shielded from potential access by the Chinese government, even with all these safeguards, all these proposed safeguards in place.
And the algorithm was still a major concern.
Oh, absolutely. Even Oracle,
Yeah.
the U.S. tech giant that TikTok had partnered with to address some of these concerns.
Right.
Even they couldn't fully get their arms around how the algorithm worked.
Wow.
You know, that lack of transparency,
Yeah.
it was a deal breaker.
Yeah.
It's like trying to sign a contract with someone when you don't know all the terms and conditions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like-
So even with TikTok bending over backward, the U.S. government wasn't budging.
No.
And things really escalated in early 2023 when the White House, they issued that directive banning TikTok from all government devices.
Oh, that was a major turning point for sure. It
Yeah.
sent a clear signal that the U.S. government was not messing around.
Right.
It was like a shot across the bow, a warning shot to TikTok and to ByteDance that they needed to get serious
Right.
about addressing these concerns or face the consequences.
And then came that congressional hearing with TikTok CEO Shou Ju.
Oh yeah,
That was must-watch TV.
it was
Chu was basically in the hot seat,
in the hot.
trying to defend the app and argue against a ban.
Absolutely, it was a high pressure situation.
Yeah.
And Chu he did his best to assure lawmakers that TikTok was committed to user safety and data security. He talked about firewalls, data encryption, independent oversight, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
But it didn't seem to sway the skeptics.
No.
In fact, some Republicans, they became even more vocal in their criticism, accusing TikTok of censoring conservative voices and promoting content aligned with the Chinese government's agenda.
It felt like the walls were closing in on TikTok at that point.
Yeah.
And then, boom, the banner sale law hits the scene.
Right.
This wasn't just a suggestion anymore.
Mhm.
It was an ultimatum backed by the full force of the U.S. government.
Yeah, the banner sale law, this wasn't just a legal maneuver.
Yeah.
You know, it represented a culmination of years of growing distrust and unease about TikTok's presence in the U.S. This law, which had bipartisan support, it essentially gave ByteDance two options. You know, sell TikTok's U.S. operations to an American company,
Right.
or face a complete ban.
Right.
And to add to the drama, this law was attached to a crucial aid package
Yeah.
for Ukraine and Israel, which meant it was guaranteed to sail through Congress and land on President Biden's desk. There was no way to stop it.
So no more negotiations and more compromises.
Yep.
It was decision time for ByteDance.
Exactly. And while ByteDance, TikTok, even some content creators,
Yeah.
they tried to fight back,
Yeah.
challenging the law in court. It was a losing battle.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court, in a rare moment of unanimity, they upheld the law, leaving ByteDance with this stark choice: sell by Sunday or shut down.
Right.
It was a dramatic climax to a long and contentious saga.
And then that fateful Saturday evening, TikTok goes dark for millions of U.S. users.
Right.
It was like a digital earthquake, right?
What?
Shaking the foundations of the social media landscape.
Yeah.
Can you describe what it felt like for those users suddenly cut off from their favorite app?
Imagine you're scrolling through TikTok, catching up on the latest trends, connecting with your friends.
Yeah.
And suddenly the app freezes. You try to refresh it, but nothing happens. You check your internet connection, everything seems fine, but TikTok is just gone.
Wow.
That's what it was like for millions of Americans that night.
Yeah.
It was a sudden and jarring experience.
Right.
A sense of disbelief, almost like a digital blackout.
The sources you shared with us, they capture that sense of shock and confusion perfectly. People were scrambling for information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trying to figure out what had happened, if the app would ever come back.
Right.
There were memes, there were lamentations, there was this collective sense of mourning for a platform that had become such a big part of people's lives.
It was a reminder of how deeply embedded these social media platforms have become in our culture, in our daily routines.
Yeah.
For many, especially younger generations. TikTok wasn't just an app. It was a community.
Yeah.
A creative outlet.
Yeah.
A source of news and information, a way to connect with the world.
Right.
And overnight it was gone.
Yeah.
It was a stark reminder of the power and the fragility of the digital world we live in.
It's like losing a friend or at least a really entertaining acquaintance, you know.
Yeah.
And the ripple effects went far beyond the individual users, right?
Absolutely.
The TikTok ban, it had significant economic and political implications.
Yeah, from a business perspective, the ban created win and losers.
Right.
Rival platforms like Meta and Snap, they saw their stock prices surge.
Yeah.
As investors anticipated this mass exodus of users from TikTok.
Right.
Think of it like a gold rush.
Yeah.
With everyone trying to grab their share of the suddenly available digital territory. But for businesses that had built their entire strategy around TikTok, the ban was a disaster.
Right.
Marketing firms, influencers, small businesses, they all had to scramble to adapt.
Yeah.
To find new ways to reach their audiences. It was a chaotic and uncertain time.
It's easy to forget that behind all the viral dances and funny memes, there were real people whose livelihoods were affected by this ban. And then just when we thought the dust was settling, there was that unexpected twist. Donald Trump, the man who initially tried to ban TikTok,
Right.
hinting at a possible reprieve.
Yeah.
It was like a plot twist in a political thriller.
It was a truly bizarre turn of events.
Yeah.
Here was Trump on the eve of his inauguration, signaling a willingness to reconsider the ban, suggesting a 90-day reprieve for TikTok to work out a deal.
Yeah.
He even went so far as to urge the Supreme Court to pause the ban's implementation.
Right.
It was a complete reversal from his earlier stance.
Totally.
And left everyone scratching their heads.
It's almost like he wanted to have the last word to show that he could control the fate of TikTok even after leaving office. And and there were rumors of behind the scenes negotiations, potential buyers circling, even whispers of Elon Musk being interested in acquiring TikTok's U.S. operations.
It was a whirlwind of speculation and intrigue.
Yeah.
Frank McCourt, the former owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers, he was said to be a serious contender, and there were reports of other private equity firms and tech giants, sniffing around.
Yeah.
But the big question was would ByteDance be willing to sell?
Right.
And if so, what kind of price tag would they put on a platform that had become such a cultural phenomenon?
So the TikTok saga takes another unexpected turn.
Yeah.
The app is gone, but the story is far from over.
It's not over.
We're left with more questions than answers.
Absolutely.
Will Trump actually grant that reprieve?
Right.
Will a sale go through? And if so, what will the new TikTok look like?
And perhaps even more importantly, what does this whole saga tell us about the future of the internet? It's a question that goes way beyond TikTok, doesn't it? It's about governments. Can they control what we see, what we do online?
Right, that balance between national security and individual freedom.
Exactly.
And who gets to shape the future of the internet? Like, is it even global anymore?
This whole situation, it's like a crash course in the geopolitics of the digital age, really.
Yeah.
We've seen how one single app can become this flashpoint for tensions between superpowers. It's a symbol of the growing rivalry between the U.S. and China. And it's not just about data security or algorithms. It's about, cultural influence, economic power, the battle for technological dominance.
Yeah.
The stakes they're incredibly high.
It's like a high-stakes poker game with governments and tech giants and millions of users all caught in the middle.
Yeah.
And And speaking of users, it's easy to get lost in the political and economic implications of all this.
Right.
But we can't forget about the human impact.
Yeah.
What happened to all those creators who had built their careers on TikTok? Did they just disappear, or did they find new ways to connect with their audiences?
It's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
Some creators were devastated. Their livelihoods just disrupted overnight.
Yeah.
They had poured their hearts and souls into building their following on TikTok, and suddenly it's all gone.
Right.
Others, they saw it as an opportunity, a chance to diversify their platforms, to reconnect with their audiences on other channels like YouTube, Instagram, even emerging platforms like RedNote, that Chinese app we talked about earlier.
Right. It's almost like the digital equivalent of natural selection. Those who were adaptable, those who could evolve and find new ways to thrive. Yeah. They survived and even flourished.
You did.
But those who were too reliant on a single platform, they struggled. It's a lesson for all of us, really, in the age of social media.
It's a reminder that the digital landscape is constantly shifting.
Right.
We need to be agile, have multiple avenues for connecting with our audiences.
Yeah.
To avoid putting all our eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Right. And it makes you wonder what does the future hold for TikTok in the US? Will it be able to make a comeback maybe under new ownership with all those security concerns addressed? Or is this the end of the line for the app that once took the world by storm?
It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
If a sale does go through, the new owners, they'll have their work cut out for them. They'll need to rebuild trust with the U.S. government.
Yeah.
Assure users that their data is safe.
Right.
Find a way to maintain TikTok's unique appeal.
Yeah.
In a crowded and competitive social media landscape.
Yeah.
It's tall order.
It is.
But not impossible.
And what about the broader implications of all this? Could this ban set a precedent for future restrictions on internet freedom? Are we heading towards a world where governments have more control over what we see and do online, where the internet is no longer this truly global space?
It's a question that keeps me up at night. The TikTok ban, it could be a harbinger of things to come. A sign that we're entering this new era of digital fragmentation, where the internet is carved up into these national spheres of influence, each with its own rules and regulations. It's a scenario that could have profound implications for free speech, innovation, and the global flow of information.
It's a lot to process, a lot to think about.
It is.
We've gone from viral dances and catchy tunes to national security threats and geopolitical power plays. It's been quite a journey.
It has.
And you've given us a lot to chew on.
Well, this is just the beginning,
Yeah.
The story of TikTok and the broader story of the internet itself, it's still being written.
That's true.
We'll have to keep watching, keep learning, keep asking questions, and see where this digital revolution takes us next.
Well said. And to you, dear listener, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the TikTok saga.
Absolutely.
It's a story that's far from over, and we'll be here to help you navigate the twists and turns as they unfold.
Yeah.
Keep those questions coming. Keep those sources flowing, and until next time, stay curious.